Hey, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. My name is Dr. Melissa Cordero. I am a clinical psychologist and the manager of ASAP, and I'm here today to present with our other two ASAP psychologists, Dr. Kate Hawley and Dr. Christina Cortez, who will introduce themselves briefly before we begin. So I'll turn it over to Kate.
Hi, everyone. So glad that you're here. I'm Dr. Kate Hawley. I'm a psychologist with ASAP, and I attended UCSB as an undergrad and graduate student. So happy to be with you all. Turn it to Christina.
Hello there, I'm Dr. Christina Cortez, and I'm the newest member of ASAP. I am a bilingual psychologist, and I'm happy to support, the Spanish-speaking population here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So welcome everyone to our wellness workshop. Today we'll be talking about how to move from overwhelm to ease, and we'll be going over embodied practices to help with emotional balance. And today we will be recording our session, and we will send out the recording to all those who registered afterwards. So some workshop objectives, just to go over that briefly. Today, we hope that you will be able to better recognize when your bodies are experiencing overwhelm, and we're going to be talking about tools, how to identify that, and how to learn and practice tools to decrease the stress in the body. And we're going to be going over different techniques. I'll be talking about how to use somatic experiencing to decrease the stress. Kate will be talking about progressive muscle relaxation, and then Christina will be discussing mindful breathing and breath work. So we're going to have various ways to decrease our overwhelm, because sometimes one technique works today, but tomorrow it's not quite clicking. And so it's good to just have many resources. I'm going to be providing very brief psychoeducation prior to beginning the practice, but the majority of this presentation will be experiential. But sometimes in order to really get into the body and allow ourselves to be really present, we have to satisfy the mind. And so I like to go over just some brief psychoeducation about what we're doing, why we're doing it, just so that mind is entertained briefly and we can really be as present as possible in our bodies. So somatic experiencing is a trauma treatment developed by Dr. Peter Levine. And it focuses on healing the emotional distress that we hold in our bodies. And so even though it's developed as a trauma treatment, it works for any type of overwhelm in our body, because basically what trauma is an overactive sympathetic nervous system or a shut down parasympathetic nervous system. And so what we're going to be doing today is to find balance between those two. And what Dr. Peter Levine found was a better understanding as to why is it that human beings are the only ones that experience these trauma-like symptoms or these stress disorders, when he was looking at animals in the wild that experience life-threatening events pretty often don't experience PTSD or stress disorders. And that is because our bodies are naturally able to heal themselves. And there is this natural wisdom that our body has in order how to release some of the stress and intensity, the adrenaline, and what gets activated in a moment of stress or trauma. But us human beings can shut that off because we get into our minds, or because we have found ways to numb ourselves or to avoid pain. But animals have this natural way of just allowing that pain to go through their body and out. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, is learning how we can lean into some discomfort. There is a famous saying by a Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, that says the only way out is in. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on. And just to give you a little bit of an understanding as to why are we leaning into discomfort? It seems counterintuitive. So just to give you a few visuals before we begin, this is our regulated nervous system. This is happening all the time when we're calm, where our nervous system naturally goes up and down, goes into a slight sympathetic nervous system activation, into a slight parasympathetic nervous system activation. When we inhale, we get activated. When we exhale, we release that. When we get excited about something, it gets activated. When we're calm, it releases. So this is a very natural ebb and flow. They're both happening throughout our time when we are relaxed. And this is just an image to show what happens when there is an event that activates a bit of overwhelm in our nervous system. And it doesn't have to be a traumatic event. It can be a stressful event. And I also want to highlight, we are living in a very traumatized society during a lot of difficult times, and that we've all experienced some form of collective trauma. Just with COVID, that was a collective trauma. And then with the uncertainty that we're going through now and all the rapid changes, some people might be experiencing that as a collective trauma. And so regardless of our personal experiences, just what's happening in the collective, the experiences that we've had as a society, just starting with COVID. And so this is just an idea to understand that we're all experiencing distress in different ways. And then we have our own personal stressors. And so what happens is when these incidences happen, our nervous system gets out of what we call that window of tolerance. And that's when we actually experience more heightened symptoms like irritability, emotional overwhelm that can be experienced like an exaggerated startled response or restlessness, even digestive problems, emotional flooding. We can even experience chronic pain and insomnia and rage. And so that is when our nervous system is very highly activated. And then what can happen is our nervous system gets so activated and it's on for such a long period of time at such an intense level that it just shuts down at some point. It's just so intense that in order for the body to try to regulate itself, it just shuts down. And when it shuts down to that degree, we can experience depression, we can experience lethargy, we can experience this chronic fatigue and exhaustion, we can feel disoriented, disconnected from others, kind of like we're living in a dream, like we're just kind of really disengaged. And a term we use in psychology is sometimes dissociating, where we're not really feeling like we're in our body. We're kind of just kind of working through the day, but not really present. This can also cause issues in the body, such as pain, low blood pressure, poor digestion. So there are somaticizing or somatizations of these symptoms that we can experience. And so just to give you a little bit of that psychoed, that's going to be the end of it. We're going to go straight into practicing. So thank you for bearing with me briefly as I just go over that, just to have us an idea, have an idea why we're going through this. So what we're going to do is begin with grounding exercises and something we call orienting. And these are foundational skills to help us feel present, to help us feel safe. And so what we're going to be doing is just practicing, and you will all get a copy of these slides, so you don't have to take notes. All the instructions are there, so you can take yourself through this again. But what we're going to do right now is, if you feel comfortable, we're going to just take a moment to notice our bodies and notice the connection our body is having with our environment. So we feel where that connection is being made, where our feet are maybe touching the floor, where our body is resting in the chair, and just noticing that contact, where our hands are resting, maybe on our laps or on the chair. And that is just us beginning to connect with our environment so that we can begin to feel more settled. And then the next step is to begin to orient ourselves to the space. And even though I know most of us are in a familiar place, either home or in our office, we're going to take a moment to just look left and to look right. And that movement is actually a natural movement that we all do when there is something to orient, to understand. If someone drops a pen, the first thing we do is just look, even though we know we're not in any danger. It's just a natural response our body has. And by doing that, it actually calms us and soothes us and brings us a sense of safety. So by orienting, where are the windows and what is over here in this corner of the room? And as we do that, take a moment and scan and start to just notice what stands out to you. And that begins to expand our sense of safety. And what we're going to do is now look for an object or a color that looks safe, something that looks calming or soothing when we look at it. It can be anything at all. It can be a picture of someone, something, can be looking out the window and noticing nature. And then we're going to notice the details, noticing the colors, the textures. And as we do that, we can even just notice how our body begins to settle. Notice, how did our body respond as we looked at this object? And another way to resource, if for any reason this doesn't work, or you're at a place where it's maybe very hard to find something that looks calming or soothing, is just to think back of to a memory where you felt really safe and calm, and just to take a moment to bring yourself there. Okay, so that's another way you can access this sense of being resourced. And what we're going to do is bring our awareness to our bodies, if this feels safe for you. So as we do this, we just start to scan and notice the body. Notice what or where does it feel the calmest? And what is it about that experience that lets you know that you are calm? What is the sensation like? Do you notice there's a warm sensation or a lightness? Or is there a feeling of expansion? So take a moment to notice, what is the quality of that sensation that lets you know you're safe? And I know that this is, can be completely new to a lot of people. We're learning a new language, like how to relate to our bodies. So let's be patient with ourselves as to, what you come up with or how we do this exercise. Just begin to notice. Is it comfortable? Is it uncomfortable? Sometimes being really calm can be uncomfortable. So there's no judgment about what's good or bad. We just notice what is. And if there's anything that you're noticing that feels uncomfortable, just become curious, because we can't be curious and anxious at the same time. So if we bring curiosity to any sensation that feels uncomfortable, it actually softens it. So we just notice it for a moment, and then maybe we bring our attention to where we feel the opposite. Where does it feel comfortable? Where does it feel calming? And as we bring our attention there, if you feel comfortable, you can have your eyes closed and you can really notice, is there any image that pops up as you notice this sensation? Are there any colors that pop up? And then we just begin to expand that to the rest of the body. Where else do we feel that safety? And then we just begin to go back and forth between maybe a part of our body that feels a little uncomfortable, maybe a little anxious. Notice it with curiosity. And you can even reframe your relationship to this as something that is here to show you, or something that it's holding for you. So something that we can internally say or say out loud is just, Thank you. Thank you. If my heart is racing right now, thank you, heart, for holding what you're holding. Isn't our body so incredible that it's carrying so much? And can we, instead of be mad, oh, there goes my heart, it's racing again, instead be like, wow, thank you. Thank you for carrying all of this. Or if I'm feeling my back hurting, like, wow, thank you for all the weight you're carrying. And so by shifting this, we actually don't fight it. And by not fighting it, it can release. So again, it's leaning in. The only way out is in. We become curious, we explore it. And then we take a moment and we pendulate and we go to the other side. Where do we feel the opposite? Where does it feel really calm and safe? And so as we allow for the full experience, we create more regulation in the body. We all have that natural ebb and flow in our bodies because it mirrors nature. Nature has that natural ebb and flow, the waves come and go, the moon waxes and wanes, the sun rises and sets. And so recognizing we are part of nature and we are just being the witness and noticing that natural ebb and flow with curiosity so it softens it and it doesn't feel so intense, but without judging it or fighting it or avoiding it, because that actually increases it and it doesn't allow us to process. So it's about shifting our perspective on what these emotions or sensations are. They're just part of that natural ebb and flow. So now I'm going to introduce you to a technique that Dr. Peter Levine talks a lot about. And it was inspired truly by the Tibetan monks and the research that has shown that actually chanting Om stimulates this nerve in our body called the vagus nerve that when activated helps us feel calm and connected to others. And so when you chant Om, it actually activates this nerve and brings a sense of calm. And so what Dr. Peter Levine did in order to be able to offer this to other people that maybe don't feel comfortable chanting Om or don't connect to that practice, that there are actually other sounds that activate that vagus nerve. And there's many ways to activate the vagus nerve. This is just one, using sound. And Resma Menakem is also a somatic experiencing practitioner, and he likes to bring in a lot of different ways that other cultures might connect to sound. And so he brings in humming. And this is such a natural sound that most of us make at something, whether we hum a song or anyone has been a parent or have rocked a baby and maybe hummed to soothe. It's just such an organic, natural way that human beings have found to soothe others, like babies. And so what they have found is that all these sounds actually activate the vagus nerve. And so what we're going to do today is take a moment, check in where your levels of anxiety are right now, of overwhelm. And let's, on a scale of from 0 to 10, jot down where that is, 10 being the strongest, 0 being none. Just making a mental note. And then we're going to just chant 3 rounds of humming. So what I mean by that is we're going to take a deep inhale. We're going to hum on the exhale. We take a deep inhale, we're going to hum on the exhale. We're going to do it 3 times. And so you're all muted. I'm the only one that will be doing this out loud. But what we're going to do is start together by exhaling all the breath out. So we all start together. Then we're going to go ahead and take a deep inhale. And then hum on the exhale. Take a deep inhale. A deep inhale. Just take a moment in silence and just notice. Notice sensations. Notice if that sense of anxiety or overwhelm decreased in any way. And I'm going to move on to the next slide just to show you other ways, because there's many, many ways. I just want to give you a whole bunch of tools today. Another is offering support using touch. So if, let's say, you feel your heart racing right now, you can place a hand on your heart. And again, integrating the thank you. Thank you for holding what you're holding. Or if you are feeling like you have a headache, it's just, again, offering support, saying thank you. So these different tools help offer a sense of safety. And there's also things like textures that are really calming, like soft blankets. There's weighted blankets that can be really calming to the nervous system. There is rocking, like in a rocking chair, mimicking what we do to babies to calm and soothe them. There are pets that when we are in contact with their fur, that brings us a release of oxytocin for both of us. So it's a win-win for us and our pet. So these are additional tools. And what we're going to do in this last minute that I have with you before I turn it over to Kate is put it all together. So let's take a moment and just rate where your level of distress is right now. Take a mental note. We'll take a moment to notice ourselves in our chair. Notice the contact our body's making with our environment. We'll take a moment and look left to right and look for something calming or soothing. Notice how your body responds to looking at that object. Notice the calmest part of your body. And then we're going to take a moment and think of a very minor stressor. So if it's on a scale of 0 to 10, it's a stressor at like 2 or 3 max. So maybe like running a minute late to a meeting, or realizing you have to send one email before you get to work or before you leave work. Like, oh, I got to send that email. Okay, little activation. And just take a moment and notice how that shifted in your body, what you notice change when you thought of that stressor. Notice the sensations. Become curious about it. Maybe place a hand to offer support wherever you feel your body getting activated. Become curious about the sensation with no judgment. Thank the body for holding all that it's holding. And then take a moment and notice where the opposite is. Where's the calmest part of your body? And notice that sensation. Reorient yourself to the space. And just check where your levels of distress are after doing that exercise. And then I'm going to turn it over to Kate to help continue, hopefully lowering those levels of distress.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank
We
you.
can go to the next slide. I'm going to be introducing another tool that will help activate the vagus nerve and parasympathetic nervous system. And this is progressive muscle relaxation. It's a technique that involves contracting different muscle groups in the body and then relaxing them. And this alteration between tension and relaxation of the muscles really enhances our recognition and our awareness of what those experiences feel like in our body. And over time, we can become more aware of when we are feeling tense. And research shows that progressive muscle relaxation really can reduce stress, depression, anxiety. It reduces physiological indicators of stress, so the hormone cortisol in our blood. and can really enhance relaxation states and improve overall well-being. So we can get right into practicing this technique. I'm going to guide you all through it. And we can just go to the next slide so that you have a nicer visual to look at. Or, if you want to close your eyes, I'll guide you through that as well. So we're going to be tensing different muscle groups for a little bit, holding them, and then I'll let you know when to relax them, and we'll notice what the difference feels like. And if you want to tense your muscles to the point where you're noticing the tension, but not so much that you're in pain or causing any strain. And so if there's a place where you do have some pain, go ahead, take care of yourself, skip that area. That's completely okay. So let's start first by just taking some time to settle in. Roll your neck, your shoulders. And then you can close your eyes or lower your gaze. Kind of tune into your body. And take a rating on a scale of 0 to 10 on your level of tension that you notice right now. And just kind of remember that. And I'm going to invite you all to take a deep breath and notice the feeling of air filling the lungs. And then as you release the breath slowly, allow some tension to leave your body through the exhale. And with your eyes still closed or your gaze lowered, we're going to bring awareness to your feet. So start by tensing your feet, by curling your toes and the arch of your foot. Hold that tension, see what that feels like. And then relax the feet completely, letting the tension go. Notice the new feeling of relaxation in those muscles. We'll move the awareness to your calves. So tense the muscles in both your calves. You can do this by pulling your feet back towards your calves. Hold them tightly. And then relax your calves. Kind of observe the tension leaving those muscles. And next, bring your awareness to the muscles of your upper leg. So tense the muscles in both of your upper legs. You can do this by tightly squeezing the thighs together. Make sure not to bring yourself to strain. Observe these sensations. And then relax and notice the tension leaving those muscles. What that feels like. Then we'll move to the muscles of the stomach and chest. So you can tense those muscles by sucking the stomach in and kind of squeezing. Observe the feeling of tension here and hold it. And then relax completely, giving yourself permission to let go of the tension in that area. Notice any new sensations there. And then we're going to bring your awareness to your arms and hands. And tense all these muscles. You're going to hold your arms out in front of you and tighten your fists into a ball, as well as the entire arm. Kind of tighten it, tighten it, tighten it. See what the tension feels like here. And then drop the arms slowly and then allow the muscles to fully relax. Allow your hands to fall open. And observe what that feels like. Now we'll move to the back. And if this is a sensitive area for you, feel free to skip this. But if not, when you're ready, tense the muscles in the upper back by pulling your shoulders together behind you. Kind of hold them here, just to the point of some tension. Hold, hold, hold. And then release the tension from your back. and allow any new sensations to wash over you. Notice any difference in how your body feels. And then finally, we're going to tense the entire body. So tense all muscle groups. So curl the toes, tense the calves, squeeze the thighs together, squeeze your stomach in, your arms out in front of you. Hold your entire body in this tense state. A little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer. And now slowly release and allow your entire body to go limp in your chair. And observe what this feels like, either keeping your eyes closed or lowered. Allow for that relaxation to flow into the different muscles. And soak it up a little bit. As you're soaking that in, check in with yourself. How would you rate the experience of tension in your body now on a scale of 1 to 10? No judgments, just observe. And take a few moments here, just kind of enjoy. And then we'll begin to wake the body up a little bit, making some slow movements of some of the muscles. So maybe rolling your feet, rolling your wrists, your neck, your shoulders. And you can take a few slow breaths at your own pace, however that looks for you. If you haven't already, you can open your eyes. And that's just one tool, progressive muscle relaxation. And we have a link to some guided exercises like this so that it's available to you at the end of the presentation. And with that, soak it in, let your body be how your body is right now. And I will turn it over to Christina.
Thank you, Dr. Holly. So talking about breath work, we're really going to guide you through a mindful, compassionate breathing exercise that'll just allow you to settle in even deeper into your body. I'm going to invite you to settle into a comfortable position, and you can either close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever feels comfortable to you. And just invite your body to feel gravity pulling you down. Feel the weight of your body pulling you down. And bring this gentle awareness to your breath. Just begin by noticing the breath just as it is, without needing to change it. If your mind wanders off, bring it back to the breath and observe the natural rhythm. Notice the inhale and the exhale coming in through the airway, cool as it comes in, warm and humid as it's expelled. Now make the intention to deepen the breath. Guide yourself gently in through your breath to become slower and deeper. And place your hands over your heart. Inhale through your nose and allow the belly to rise and expand. Exhale slowly through your mouth, letting go of any tension as best as you can. And anchor your attention again, focusing on the sensations of breathing. Just how the air feels entering and leaving your nostrils. The natural rise and fall of your chest and belly. And bring your attention to the heart and notice the warmth of your heart, or what is there. If any distractions come to mind, simply acknowledge them. Bring notice without judgment. Gently guide your attention back to your breath, using that as an anchor to be present and to become more compassionately aware within yourself of what is there within your body. I'll invite you to extend the exhale as you feel more comfortable. Try lengthening the exhale slightly, returning to your natural rhythm when you're ready. When you're ready, you can bring your awareness back into the surroundings. Gently opening your eyes, taking a moment to notice what changed within you. Setting the intention to carry this sense of awareness of your breath as you go about your day. Now we can skip, I think it'll be, to this slide. So the breath really has a powerful way of reorienting us into more of agency and autonomy of either experiencing any distress and then incorporating tools that can help us become more grounded or integrated. So diaphragmatic breathing is a technique where we can use to help lower our heart rate, our blood pressure, and promote relaxation through the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, as Dr. Cordero was mentioning earlier. And if you will find a comfortable position, this won't be a meditation, but really more of an exercise. I'll invite you to place one hand over your chest and the other one over your abdomen. Now, as you breathe in naturally, feel the natural rhythm of the air flowing in as you breathe in and the air exhaling or being released as you exhale. And now, if you would, just visualize the feel of the movement in your diaphragm, your upper body. You might intentionally take a deeper breath and feel the rise in your diaphragm, your chest and your belly. And then the exhale, the natural collapse of your chest and abdomen or contraction. You might inhale in more slowly in through your nose. And then notice what happens as you purse your lips tightly and help to release the air. Notice the abdomen and the chest again, this natural ebb and flow of the air coming and going. You might feel the need to yawn. That is completely natural. And yawning is actually a great way to release tension or invite relaxation. That's why we tend to yawn when we're a little bit more relaxed. So when someone is feeling perhaps a lot more anxiety and they need further support, we can jump into the next slide. Another technique that can be helpful is diaphragmatic breathing. I think we'll do the next one. We did this. There we go. So box breathing, or Samaviti Pranayana in Sanskrit, meaning equal breathing, is another technique that can be used for when somebody is experiencing intense distress, like a panic attack or anxiety or intense distress to any, external or internal event. So this technique is rooted in yogic practices, and it involves inhaling for the count of 4 seconds, then holding the breath for the count of 4 seconds, And then exhaling for the count of 4 seconds. And then again, inhaling for the count of 4 seconds. And repeating this pattern really helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And it goes by different names like 4x4 breathing, of course, box breathing, eagle breathing, four square breathing, think of those names. And that can be really helpful to incorporate or pass on to anyone that might be experiencing, like I said before, anything like intense distress or anxiety or panic attack. And so the practice might be helpful with a clock that has the hand motion. We can see that hand moving back and forth, or the blinking lights of a clock that helps us to orient as to how long time has elapsed so that we can incorporate the breathing techniques. And so that is all of the skills that I have for you today. On the next slide, we have the key takeaways. So what is somatic experiencing? Tuning into the body and the sensations alongside emotional states with curiosity, rather than avoiding or running away from or wanting an immediate resolution. This way it offers you more support into the different parts of your body, holding the distress, sort of self-validating. Where am I holding this? It makes sense that I feel this way, right? And then incorporating some of the skills with progressive muscle relaxation, tensing and relaxing different muscle groups in the body, and reducing physical tension. And then using coping skills to promote overall agency and integration of your nervous system. And then lastly, breath work, which can help you regulate your nervous system and regulate emotions and reduce stress and overall integrate your whole experience. So I think that is all that we have for today. Some resources that are clickable, and I believe the links will be actually included on the presentation that we'll share with you today. We'll stop the recording so you'll open it up to questions or comments.